you both from here originally? I'll start with you, John.
No, I'm originally from Western Pennsylvania.
Really?
Yeah, grew up, born in Pittsburgh, grew up in a small town south of Pittsburgh called Donora, and that's where I met my wife back in high school.
Well, we have a problem today because I'm born and raised in Cleveland.
We have a problem today.
And Tim, where are you from originally?
I grew up in Southern California, Los Angeles area.
How did you end up in California?
By choice.
That's good.
All the moves that we had done previously before coming to California had always been driven by my job. And things were evolving at the job, and so I got together with the family and said, you know, we have an opportunity here. Where would you like to live? And they gave me three choices, the Bay Area, San Diego, or Florida. And I said, fine, I'll see if I can find a job in one of those three. The Bay Area was the place that we landed, and we have no regrets in coming out here at all. We've been here over 30 years now.
What was your day job?
I'm an engineer, and I was working at the time on gas turbines for power generation and for work in the petrochemical industry.
Oh, you're a real engineer.
Yeah, and then when I moved out here, I got into the defense industry.
What area specifically were you from?
I was from Los Angeles.
Okay, I've heard of it.
Yeah, went to school. It's in Cal Poly San Luis Obispo. Met my wife. We graduated, and when we graduated, her dad asked us if we wanted to come up and help him run his winery. And we kind of looked at each other and said, well, might as well move back. And so we moved up here in 1984. It sounds great, but we were slave labor.
Oh, sure.
Because, oh, they're family. We don't have to pay them.
Yeah.
We can pay them minimal. So, but it was fine. It's like I learned the basics. I learned a passion for wine, so I have no complaints.
How did the two of you, being John and Tim, meet?
Good. So my wife and I were doing doing the winemaking for my father-in-law, and at one point in time, I had a friend who was assisting me and helping me with the wines, and he met John and his wife and another friend of ours, Doug and Tracy, and they were talking about having a Pinot Noir tasting. And we had just done our first Pinot Noir. And so Tracy and Doug invited all of us, John and Nancy and Ron and Janice, who's also a partner here, and Chris Ann and I and our friend Jim and his wife to come to this Pinot Noir tasting. I was told, and I'm going, well, I don't even know these people. Why are we going? Who are they? And whatever. And we agreed that we would go. And then, for whatever reason, our friend Jim was unable to attend. So we go to this house with 6 complete strangers that we really don't know, and drank and Pinot Noir and ate a great dinner. And basically that was the start of the friendship. And that actually happened 25 years ago.
Wow.
And we have been great friends since that first day. I mean, we do holidays, we do vacations, we do birthdays, we do Saturday nights or Friday nights. So we, and then we hang out here a lot.
It's pretty much a democracy, but each of us have specific strengths and specific roles, and it works out really well that way. So right now you're talking to the winemaking team.
Is your decision to be the winemaking team based on maybe opposite talents or opposite palates or something to that effect, or very similar? How does that work out?
I think our palates are complementary. I wouldn't say that they're identical. Our approaches are a little different. Tim has a lot more of the in-depth knowledge in the winemaking process. I'm more self-taught, and my strength is in blending. And so what we'll do is we'll work on the wines together. We'll do all the processing, the yeast, the fermentation, the punch down, so on and so forth. And we split that duty reasonably well. A lot of cleaning. When it comes time to do the blending, we'll each pull a sample from every barrel that we're going to work with, and we'll come up with the blends. I'll do a set, Tim will do a set, we do comparisons. And more often than not, our comparisons show that we've been coming up with very similar, if not identical, blends. And then we'll down select from there, and then we'll do fine tuning. And that work is typically done over about a 4 to 6 week period.
The fact is, John and I know what our schedule is, and we know that, you know, we bottle once a year, so we need to make decisions so that early on, so that when we get down the road and getting close to bottling, we have wines out of tanks, we know what goes in what blends, etc. So we do this and we start very early, but we always invite, and the partners know they're always invited to come. But we do it at 7 o'clock on Saturday mornings.
Oh, really?
And
Wow.
and you don't get a lot of people who want to roll out of bed and start drinking wine at 7 o'clock on a Saturday morning.
Certainly would change the rest of your day, wouldn't it?
It could, but it's a great time to do it because your taste buds are fresh, everything is good.
Yeah, right.
Works out really well.
Yeah. And what John and I have found is that John and I have similar tastes, but not exact. And we're pretty good about deferring to each other. If I feel strongly about a blend or a particular wine or how we're doing it and how I think I want to see it come about, and John is ambivalent about it, then you know, John, he will defer to me, same as I will defer to John.
Sure.
So there is no argument of, oh no, you're wrong, and that. It's like, no, I like this one better, you know, and we'll go back and we'll taste and say, okay, yeah, I can see where you're coming from on that. And so we're very complimentary on that. And we also, you know, if we have a wine and we just can't get it right, we'll throw out weird ideas. You know, an example would be our rosé from last year. It just wasn't, it was fine, but it was just missing something. And so on a whim, as John's here working on the blends, as I pass by and taste it, I say, you know, if you put in some of that club cab that we're doing, that, you know, 1%, that might do it. And he did the blend, and it flipped it just to where we needed it to be.
Tell me about the other wines you're making here.
Okay, so this year we just finished a bottling, and we bottled 13 different wines.
That's a lot.
So we did for a white table blend made from Semillon and Sauvignon Blanc. And we call it Livermore. Those are two grapes that helped put Livermore on the map.
Yeah, sure.
And it's just a lovely, elegant wine. It's very clean. We also made a 100% Sauvignon Blanc. We did a white table blend where we added some Chardonnay in with the Sauvignon Blanc and the Semillon.
That's
we do a
interesting.
Chardonnay as well. And the Chardonnay is a little different than the typical in that we use the Dijon clone instead of the more typical Wente clone. The rosé Tim had already talked about. We do a red table blend, and it varies from year to year, depending on basically what we're aiming for and what we have in hand. This year was the 5th year for it, so it was our Arroyo Rojo Cinco. We do a Merlot, Cabernet Sauvignon. We also do Zinfandel and Petit Syrah. This year we also did a late harvest wine.
Oh, nice.
We've often been asked, do you have anything that's sweet?
Always.
And the answer has always been, no, not really. So this year the answer is, yes, we do. And Tim can talk a little more about how we did that.
Late harvest was a Petit Syrah. Grower called us up that we'd gotten Zinfandel from, said, I've got some Petite Sirah. And I said, well, we've already done all of our Petite Sirah for the year. He says, well, it's been hanging for a while and it's probably high sugars. And I got the wacky idea is, okay, let's do it and see if we can ferment it and stop the fermentation so we have some residual sugar and do a late harvest. And we managed to do it. It wasn't on the on the playlist of things to do, but the opportunity presented itself. So we said, let's give it a shot, and it was kind of fun to do.
Yeah. We're here in your tasting room, and it's a lovely space. Can people just wander on in? Do they need to come by appointment? How does that process work here?
We do take appointments, but walk-ins are more than welcome. Right now we are only open on Saturdays and Sundays from noon to 5. However, we do private events or custom events as well. You just call the winery and we can set it up.
And for our listeners who'd like to learn about you online, what is your website?
www.arroyocellars.com.